I've been planning on buying a 3D printer. I've spent most of this month shopping for one. I had planned to own one by the end of March, but that's been disrupted by, shall we say, worldwide event. Since it's been disrupted, I'd like to ask anyone who already owns one or more if there is a certain brand I should avoid for my first printer. Or is there a brand I should strongly consider? I would wager I'm not the only one that would be interested in knowing. Please leave a comment down below. One of the comments that was lobbed at me when I mentioned that I was planning on buying a printer was, why? They only seem to be good for stupid knickknacks and novelties. Well, with the all-consuming worldwide event, there have been a number of times that 3D printing has come to save the day. The first being ventilator valves. In Italy, a hospital didn't have the needed valves for CPAP hoods. Manufacturers couldn't make or deliver the valves needed soon enough. So a local startup, and I know I'm going to butcher this, Isinova? Sorry. They started printing the valves and seemed to fill the need. And they were cheap. Now, I wish I could be clearer on this, but there seems to be a lot of confusion and misreported information. Isinova asked the OEM company for CAD files or mil specs. The manufacturer declined to provide any information. Isinova reverse engineered the valves, or he came up with his own completely different design. It's not clear. The last thing reported was the printer designed his own valve. The manufacturer then threatened to sue. Maybe. That was later reported to be false. It was also reported the original valves cost $10,000 to $11,000 each. That doesn't seem to be true. The only thing that I am sure of now is Isinova's valves are 3D printed, they work, and they're produced in bulk, fast and cheap. So that's a definite win for 3D printing. The next big celebrated 3D printing saves the day was the nano hack mask. At least this was the first 3D printed mask I was hearing about. The medical masks needed are running out. So a whole slew of things have happened on that front. Companies have donated any N5 masks they may have had to keep hospital staff safe. But that only delays the problem of running out of PPE equipment. The next solution is homemade fabric masks, which can be reused after being washed, and some people have pointed out that fabric doesn't filter out viruses. But there are hospitals that are asking for locals to make these masks because it's better than nothing. And it is better than what was officially suggested by the CDC. This, bandanas. I would rather have a tailored fabric mask than this. I would take a nano hack over this. This does not seal well. I don't feel like this would protect me from any kind of biological. I don't know if the nano hack is a better option over the fabric masks. If I had a printer, I would print one out because I'm curious. I made a point of downloading the STL file off of Copper 3D's website. I'm curious mostly about the filter system, which may be moot by the time I post this. Their website did say that they were going to release a new version that may address my concerns. Mostly, how do they limit airflow so it only goes through the filter material? If there is a way for particulates in air to go around a filter, some of it is definitely going to go around the filter. Naomi Wu has voiced some concerns about the designer's copper 3D, and they're insisting that antibacterial filament must be used, which they seem to be the only ones who make antibacterial filament. I think Miss Wu may have a point. I'm not going to get into the difference between bacteria and viruses. I will refer to the fact that some hospitals have asked for fabric masks to be made. And there are plenty of photos of nurses and doctors wearing full respirators masks from the paint section at the local hardware store. And of course the CDC officially suggested bandanas. None of them are antibacterial. Those are filter barriers, and some better than others. And my thoughts on the nano hack mask is it's more important for it to be made out of a material that will stand up to being disinfected. Something that can soak in 70% alcohol for a while, maybe even washed in bleach or peroxide. As long as it seals on the face and it filters, then it's going to get the job done. It doesn't matter that much what it's made out of. I should mention that there are other companies that have made STL files for 3D printed masks available with that very approach in mind. One I like better than the Nano Hack is based on a HEPA filter, which is intended for common vacuum cleaners. It's the creation of a dentist in Georgia. The only drawback to this particular mask is the fact it's sealed to the face using some kind of caulking compound. Still, I would take that over a bandana. The next big 3D printed story is face shields from Prusa, as in the brand of 3D printers. The face shield is both simple in design and story. The creator used Creative Commons to make it freely available to anyone who wants to print, use, and donate. It cannot be sold. The printed parts are a headband and a clip that shapes and reinforces lamination plastic that actually makes up the clear shield. The clear plastic has holes punched in it using a common 3D hole punch. It then snaps onto lugs on the headband. The whole system is held onto the wearer using a common elastic band found in most fabric shops. It was designed in 3 days and was verified by the Czech Ministry of Health. This kind of shield has been a regular part of protective equipment used by hospital staff worldwide. It keeps fluid away from the eyes and masks dry. So, shortly before I started recording it, it turns out that Isanova didn't stop with just the valves. They started working with a company named Decathlon. This company makes a snorkel mask called Easy Breath. Hospitals can now use 3D printed parts from Isanova to adapt the snorkel mask for a CPAP oxygen mask. It's a vital treatment for the worst case scenarios. This is the kind of thing that can make a big difference on whether or not a person lives or dies. Shortly after I read about Easy Breath being used for ventilators, turns out someone printed an adapter to use readily available vacuum cleaner filters again to allow the mask to be used as a respirator mask for hospital staff. Very cool. Some of the other cool 3D printed items have more to do with reducing contact with common surfaces that may be contaminated, like door pulls. There's a wrist catch that you can print off and bolt to a regular store door that you can just hook your wrist on and pull the door open. There are toe hooks that you mount down at the bottom, where you catch this hook with your toe and you kind of pull the door open just enough that you can elbow your way in. The rest are stuff like, button pokers for elevators and ATM keypads, personal door hooks and push and pulls. Some of it all seems goofy, but if it reduces contact with high traffic surfaces, items that are more likely going to be contaminated, then why not? It can't hurt. While I've been focusing on how cool it is to see 3D printing showing a very net positive for the world, I do want to make a shout out to the other makers who have stepped up. Like all the people making fabric masks for hospitals and caretakers. Some of the other massive projects people have taken on. Projects like hacking CPAP machines to make treatment equipment. There's the open source ventilator project, where ventilators are made out of commonly available parts that you would probably find at most hardware stores. If you're interested in some of those projects, a good place to start is makezing.com, or just Google Plan C. Thanks for watching and good luck. To subscribe, click the channel icon on the top left. Top right is the previous video, and below that is a random suggestion from YouTube. Thanks again.